shown different styles as well. They had the Yasuo top, split push, Tom Kench, a lot of global mobility. So there are more looks from Flash Wolves than people were thinking they were going to get.
Yeah, and of course, Kai'Sa having left Flash Wolves, he did an interview recently where he said, it actually feels bad to see Flash Wolves perform so well once I leave the team. And that's another added element that obviously Kai'Sa took to stage yesterday you have to factor in.
If you break up with your girlfriend, you want her with an uglier dude.
No doubt about that. And we'll have to see whether or not Flash Wolves will bounce back from yesterday's trials and tribulations, gentlemen. Morgana, Graves, Ezreal, Zoe, and Gangplank find themselves in the ban pool.
Very, very interesting Graves ban, considering the priority that Team Liquid have had on Trundle, and that being one of the picks that we see so often into the Trundle.
That to me just says that they're looking for a first pick Trundle themselves. If they want to limit the number of counter picks that are available, and they're saying, you know what, Xmithie, we think that you don't play things like the Lee Sin and the Kha'Zix, we're more than happy to just ban the Graves away and first pick it.
Especially since they're expecting 100% tanks from North American LCS. Impact on a tank for sure. They've been at least been double stacking them, either another one from the jungle or one from Olleh.
What surprises me is the Rakan ban as well, because if you know, or they're likely going to go for the Trundle, you could have either had them pick the Rakan themselves, and then you get yourself the Trundle with no counter, along with the fact that it looks like they don't play the Xayah Rakan.
This is a Gragas lock-in so early, Vedius. This is a champion we have not seen at this tournament. He got AP buff, so I would leave the door open for a possible flex pick, but primarily jungle position.
Yeah, I would expect it to be in the jungle. I think that against the pillar, you always have the dash, and we know that that mobility is great into a Trundle. In terms of playmaking and setup, you also have so much coming from Xmithie, and I feel like for this team, he will be a core part that you need to rely on.
Very bursty champion. We're going to follow it up with the Kai'Sa ban here for DoubleLift. And as the analyst has said, actually, every single analyst that I've talked to this entire tournament, the first thing for any team that they've said is always pushing bottom lane. We want a winning bottom lane. They just keep repeating this, you know, over and over and over because it has been so important. So the support that gets paired with this is going to determine a lot of how it goes, because Kog'Maw has been the go-to pick into Kai'Sa. DoubleLift said it, it was an impossible matchup to play from the Kai'Sa side.
Yeah.
And when Flash was also already locking in Karma, a very strong laner for a possible support, that would mean that DoubleLift would have his work cut out for him.
He certainly will do, and Flash Wolves now have the ability to ban more supports out if they want to try and limit that bot pool. But for Liquid, I think they should ban away the Cassio. I think it is a good pick into the Malzahar, and in the hands of Maple, who has had a phenomenal tournament. In my eyes, the best mid laner at this tournament so far. Putting him in the hands of a big, scaling mid-lane champion that can outduel and outperform something like a Malz, I think would be worth taking off the board.
Couple seconds left to see whether or not you get your pick. Camille will be the final ban on Phase 2 for Team Liquid, and that's Gragas. I know we briefly flirted with the idea, it could be not in the jungle, but Xmithie historically is a very big Gragas player. I believe it is his most played competitive professional champion by a sizable margin. And we'll see whether or not he can use the engage tools to enable Team Liquid, get them one step closer to semifinals. Last ban from Flash Wolves will come in shortly, and it will be the Thresh.
So this indicates to me that the Karma will be in the support position. Wouldn't surprise me if Liquid go for something like the Tom Kench, given it is a big comfort pick of Olleh, does give you a little bit of map movement and roaming power, and they'll classically put impact on a tank up in the top lane.
A Tom Kench, though, would just be completely sacrificing that bottom side of the map, and a very dangerous choice to make, because Gragas, has, even though he has burst potential, right? You can come in, body slam, flash, and go for a big gank. He's going to be very difficult riding something like that. Shen, though, that hover over puts even more power towards the bottom lane.
Yep. This is all to protect the Kog'Maw composition based on what we're going for so far. The quick shift over to Cho'Gath does show that Flash Wolves have quite a strong Baron taking team in the later portions of the game. Yeah,
you definitely want to feast if you're playing versus Xmithie, and you go for the Baron when he's up, because he has been on point with spiting them, stealing them away.
For a very long time.
For a very, very long time.
Well, last pick's going to come in, Vedius. It was not the Cassio, despite a very long hover. Swain instead What do you make of the pivot into that Malzahar?
Well, we've seen it so many times, a trundle pillar being able to set up the passive from Swain so he can draw you even closer, and that being a very useful combination that can be procced at range.
Personally, I'm not a massive fan. I feel like Swain is one of the few matchups that actually can't punish the weak early laning phase that Malzahar typically has, because he needs quite a few points in his E before he can really start pushing that wave up. And Swain, especially after the recent nerfs, doesn't have the wave clear. So Pobelter should have a free laning phase, and overall, Liquid have drafted themselves a pretty solid team fight composition, which kind of fits to the style that Team Liquid found so much success with during the playoffs.
Yeah, we were definitely expecting a ranged support to complement DoubleLift's Kai'Sa down here. You cannot sacrifice that bottom side. They've gone with the Janna for Olleh, and it's going to be up to them. Will this bottom lane, be able to get through the early stages?
But Flash Wars, they're all about the scaling. Swain, Kog'Maw, Cho'Gath, also effective in late game team fights themselves, especially once they've completed 2 to 3 items. And I think it's fascinating to have the differences between the two comps, where Liquid, primarily they want to find these picks initially. They want to use the mobility from DoubleLift's ultimate, the ulti from Pobelter to catch a target out, even the Ornn ulti to lock down unsuspecting targets. But how quickly will Flash Wars look to group up and try and force those fights around Baron?
Yep, all other members on Team Liquid can set up the passive from Kai'Sa and try and have some synergy in this game.
Oh, so much on the line. Team Liquid, 3 wins and 5 losses. They are chasing Fnatic for that 4th and final seed into the semifinals and that trip to Paris.
And it's important to note that while a loss here for Team Liquid will not knock them out of contention, it is no longer in their control. They need Fnatic to lose later on in the day. Otherwise, a win here would just make their lives a lot easier.
Yeah.
Yep. Meanwhile, Flash Wolves are playing for that control. As we said, the championship is open, and they want to take it all the way this time. SK Telecom is not here. The defending champs are not here, and they want a piece.
They definitely do. The old guard of MSI past are no longer with us. Flash was the only returning team from 2017 MSI, with a different look, of course, with Hanabi and Moojin in the top and jungle position. Now, there is some cheekiness being set up here as Team Liquid have snuck their way into this bottom brush. I'm whispering because the tension is high. And Xmithie walking around the corner will get spotted. SwordArt will escape with his life for now. But Team Liquid, they're not done yet, boys. They continue this pressure. SwordArt gets a mantra, just a Q rather. I think it was mantra actually.
He's getting some more Spell Thieves procs as well. A little bit of extra gold in his pockets. Team Liquid drop off their wards. The counter invade from Flash Wolves on top side is timely. That's the response here. Going to trade a little bit of control of the red quadrants.
A couple of pings coming down from Team Liquid onto the top side of their jungle. Ideally, they'd like to drop a ward, but likelihood is Impact will just walk through. Pobelter can also keep an eye on what Flash Wolves are up to.
Oh, Impact going to walk the safe way around. Pobelter puts the ward onto the Raptors. They will be able to see that the red's been taken, but Xmithie, half his life already out.
Oh, Olleh and DoubleLift have not left, though. Some plasma tagging on Betty. DoubleLift and Olleh going to sidestep that Q. Continue to put some help and some assistance. Now look at the mid lane. Pobelter and Maple, they're trading a little bit. It's now DoubleLift and Olleh back away. That's the smite for the red steal. But what impact will this have on the mid and bottom lane as Olleh takes another big chunk to the face?
So it's really important to recognize how much farm was given away or gained from both sides, because in the bottom lane, they got to lane rather delayed.
Xmithie's got to get out of there.
Oh, take a look at this. Xmithie's got body slam and flash. That's a flash already used.
Oh!
No body slam. I take it back. Death's Hand tags him. Very good response. Xmithie survives a few seconds longer before Moojin takes him out.
What an amazing collapse from Flash Wolves there. Maple flashes, so the second half of his Q is going to come back through Xmithie, so he lands the snare, and they're able to absolutely take this early game out of Team Liquid's hands.
This is a 4-buff start for Moojin after what was a fantastic collapse. Kobe, you talked a lot about it. Can the bottom lane of Team Liquid do anything to stop this? As Moojin, he does not have smite.
No, he doesn't, but should be able to secure it, and does. One last little chomp down. Flash Wolves get the buff, they get the first blood, they get an 800 gold lead already.
So the question is, what can Flash Wolves use with this early lead? Xmithie, he doesn't have Flash, but neither does Maple. And in the early game, punishing the lack of summoner spells is a great strategy. Remember, Well, let's first have a look back at how this play happened. And Moojin, he just runs straight through the middle lane. Xmithie sees this coming.
Yeah, you gotta blame Team Liquid and Xmithie for this one because, as you said, they walked through the vision. Here's Maple's big play, though. The never move comes back to you, so he flashes with Xmithie to that side, so he's able to tag them, and Moojin is there, able to clean it up for them.
So we talked about there being no summoner spells now in the middle lane, and I think back to when Kingzone played up against RNG, and MLXG had all of his jungle taken, he was 2 levels down, and he just started ganking. Over and over again, he was getting involved in the lanes, he was trying to burn summoner spells and then come back later on, and that allowed RNG to come back into the game. And for Xmithie, given the deficit he's in right now, while it isn't so significant that he can't pull himself back, I'd love to see him be active on this Gragas where the summoner spells are lacking right now for Flash.
Okay, so Xmithie then, I'll keep my eyes on him. Level 3, no flash. He needs to scale up. Got that electrocute as his keystone. We caught a glimpse there, by the way, of Pobelter just getting chunked down, eating every single spell from Maple. And as it stands, Xmithie's picked himself that early amp tome, working towards some additional damage. Team Liquid, they're already behind 1,000 gold. They're losing out on some CS. It's a difficult start to what will be a very difficult day for the North American representatives.
Definitely true. Meanwhile, can't really let that affect you in the bottom lane. All of the laners just kind of have to play a little bit more safe now. If Gragas does not have flash in the early game, he's not going to provide that extra threat to your lane that you would want to, try and help out your laning phase and make your enemies be more respectful of any lack of vision. Xmithie's just trying to climb his way back into the game on Gragas, takes the Krugs and goes for an immediate back afterwards because there's nothing left for him to really gain.
Meanwhile, on the other side, Moojin is already making his way towards the bottom lane. He now has a 2-level advantage over his counter-jungling opponent, and he just wants to get further deep vision, try and make things as difficult as possible for Xmithie.
And of course, he has to attack the bottom lane, establish control around this Kai'Sa, and not allow Team Liquid to scale.
Yeah, and of course, we saw that drop down earlier. This is DoubleLift's first professional game as Kai'Sa, but he's just playing really, really well this tournament. Yesterday, great standout performance, 23 KDA, and helping Team Liquid get that 2-0 on the day. And DoubleLift truly has been sort of the carry that Team Liquid have continued to look to and lean on.
Definitely going to have his work cut out for him this game. An Ocean Drake being taken up very easily because of the jungle difference here. Moojin's got complete control. There's no way that Team Liquid, Xmithie, or anyone else are going to be able to go answer. And that is going to be some early dragon control.
And it makes the top lane matchup that much harder as well. I hear from all these top laners so many times that if your opponent has an Ocean Drake, every time you go in for a trade, it never really feels like you win because the sustain is just so impactful during the early portions of the map. So Hanabi going for a bit of a back and forth, and he's going to be more than happy with this.
Definitely true. Flash Wolves as a team, super happy with this early game. Also, I think they did very good preparation. Xmithie has been the heart of this Team Liquid squad. So active and so much a part of facilitating any of their positive plays that taking him out of the game, in the bans, focusing the most picked champion there for them, Trundle, and then early on as well, really, really well executed.
But that Rakan ban as well really spoke to me a lot because it implied that Team Liquid were not willing to trade Trundle for Xayah Rakan in the bottom lane. And the fact that Flash Wolves felt confident in being able to get themselves a winning 2 versus 2 matchup in what they feel is confident with the Kog'Maw and a ranged support gives them priority over the bot side, gives them priority over top. And Maple, I wasn't entirely confident in this matchup. He's proving me wrong as he puts so much pressure down into Pobelter in the middle lane.
And the jungle invade continues. Trundle able to abuse the lead that he has here, moves up with Hanabi, and they're able to take away the red. Meanwhile, Xmithie's trying to answer. It's definitely dangerous, though, as this was the area he was caught in red-handed before.
I want to put that jungle matchup, Kobe, to some numbers. Xmithie's down 1,000 gold. So his team's gold difference is the big difference between Xmithie and Moojin. Obviously, there's First Blood. Obviously, there's a bunch of camps. It all adds up. But it's just the type of start for Team Liquid you did not want to see. The run starting to build up. And I'm going to go back to something, Vedius, you mentioned, confidence in the bottom lane. That's not a confident bottom lane. They've gone through some really difficult times here at MSI. And right now, DoubleLift and Olleh may be called upon to help out. Get Moojin going for the invade, easy smite steal, and Xmithie has just been put further behind.
He's going to get full buffed once again. Xmithie I don't think he's gotten a buff yet this game. Is a large part of why he's in such a big deficit. You know, you talked about this bottom lane. They still have the late game insurance. We've seen multiple times what Kai'Sa can do in these team fight scenarios. And we talked a little bit about how the comp of Team Liquid is very pick-oriented. You have so many tools to split apart the enemy flash walls. You have so much mobility with the Janna and the Gragas, sorry, with the Kai'Sa and the Gragas as well in these team fights. And with the long-range engage tools that they have, Flash Wolves have to respect a lot of the mid-game power that this Team Liquid composition can provide.
Yep. Also, their jungler here for Team Liquid gonna need to remain tilt-proof. Xmithie's trying to get to his level 6 so that he can actually have an impact. Even though it's very discouraging to be absolutely trashed in the early game like this, you still do have to look for those openings, those proactive plays. When you're a Gragas, you have Flash. Now he's got available, now he's got his ultimate available as well. And it's probably time for them to change the way that this game is going.
Kobe, he already has an impact. Are you saying that he needs 2 of them?
No, no. Freak is not casting. You're not permitted to bring it down to that level.
I almost never say this, but Freak probably would have done that better.
I can't believe you gave him that kudos. Gentlemen, I'm going to bring us back to this Flash Wolves domination. Because yesterday they went down 0-2. Yesterday they lost to Fnatic, they lost to RNG. You can see the goal differences. Fnatic 2k up, RNG 6k up. Today they've bounced back and they've punished Xmithie exactly how they need to.
I have to say, you know, people have been underestimating Flash Wolf for years. And even in this tournament where they had such success, oh, here we go, the flash is blown.
Let's take a look at that. Pobelter's passive is parked. Killer Instinct is available for DoubleLift, and he fires. SwordArt continues to get run down. Nethergraph will allow the kill to be secured. It's DoubleLift that picks it up. Now, Flash Wolves, Moojin, and Maple, they're trying to step forward. Where's Vision of the Empire? Not pulled yet.
Yep, Xmithie does have the Gragas ultimate steal, so he could use that to disengage if they kept chasing. That is a proactive move from Pobelter here for Team Liquid to get a kill on the bottom lane for Kai'Sa.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that in the replay we can track how Pobelter moved through the river in order to get down, because he hasn't used his teleport, and Maple actually followed him second, even though he's been the one primarily pushing Pobelter underneath his tower. It did cost Pobelter a flash, but Team Liquid, they find an advantage down to the bottom lane, and they get DoubleLift a kill.
Yep, they've been looking at the bottom lane still as all the pings are going down on that turret. Olleh by himself at a very juicy objective. Now he knows to get out of there. The Scryer's Bloom has been given away.
Oh, is it too late, though? Because I don't think he was spotted. He didn't get that little animation above his head. Moojin is waiting in the wings. Olleh's now going to try his best to get out. Does have access to his ultimate. Remember, no flash available. Teleport being channeled by Pobelter, and the minion wave is slowly being cleared out. Here comes Pobelter with Call of the Void to silence. Maple's trying to make his way in. That's a flash. Never move into the kill. Moojin with the flash chop. Killer Instinct's on cooldown for DoubleLift, so he cannot use that either. And the Demonic Ascension keeps Maple alive. Now here comes Xmithie. Tower First Blood picked up by the Flash Wolves. SwordArt taken down. The Malefic Visions are bouncing and hopping across the targets, but there's not enough damage yet. Flash Wolves get another kill.
Great job by Flash Wolves to just push this lead all the way through the turret. They get the first turret bonus gold. They get the kills, and they do not stop. Now upcoming here is a Cloud Drake as well in 15 seconds to get back onto the map.
And keep in mind that while Team Liquid have been finding kills, they're all onto SwordArt right now, whereas it is the Moojin in the jungle picking up the kills along with Maple on the side of Flash Wolves. Gold is going into the hands of the right pocket as we watch again this replay.
All right, so Flash Wolves know that they have the tempo, they know that they have the fed jungler here, so they just try and brute force this objective. Maple flashes in for Olleh. They kill him just as he uses his ultimate, and that was actually critical, because if he was going to get any healing off, it might have delayed long enough.
And I feel like the Team Liquid just felt that they could fight for this, because Xmithie was coming in through the river and DoubleLift was coming in from base, but he did not have his ultimate available. Olleh could not survive for long enough, and rather than just concede it, they gave away kills and a tower to boot.
See the damage there being put down by Maple. Himself that mask already. I think Xmithie won the smite fight. Not the first time win, or the last time we'll be saying that sentence. But gentlemen, at the end of the drama, at 12 minutes, it's still a 2,500 gold lead for Flash Wolves. They got the first tower, they got the first dragon, and here comes a proactive play. Impact's got Call of the Forge God available, and it is summoned. Hanabi holds onto his flash, and Impact actually going to flash forward for this one. With the help of DoubleLift, they continue to chase. Olleh's in so much trouble. He's taking a lot of damage. Teleport being channeled, and finally, the kill is secured. Turn the attention to Xmithie. Now Maple's looking to run him down. Support can come from Team Liquid from the jungle, and it is. Near the grass, not going to be needed.
Yeah, all the focus here bottom lane is because DoubleLift is the hope of Team Liquid. They put another kill onto him, and they're going to be able to take this turret trade, but Flash Wolves are pushing harder and faster on the top side.
Every time Team Liquid make a play, Flash Wolves answer. Yes, Team Liquid, they still have priority bot. They still have the numbers, and they could keep pushing. I don't know if Flash Wolves will be able to respond in time as Team Liquid are getting a little bit more control back over the map.
Now they're going to try and retreat to the Dragon after they take away this red. That is going to mean that Flash Wolves will be able to take the Rift Herald on the top side of the map in exchange.
And it's just a lot of trading back and forth between the two teams. Kobe, I think you highlighted it perfectly as DoubleLift is continuing to rack up these kills. We talked about how he can be that late game insurance for Team Liquid, and we've seen what pros have done so far in this tournament with this champion. DoubleLift is one of the players that can turn it around and can win those late game fights if Flash Wolves allow them to get there.
Especially now that he has a Rage Blade and Zeal completed at 14 minutes. That is a gigantic spike in power. Of course, no boots yet versus Betty's Berserker's Greaves, so DoubleLift's going to need to be in the right place at the right time. Team Liquid are still 3,000 gold down.
It's worth highlighting, though, that a lot of that deficit comes from Moojin versus Xmithie. He has a level on him right now, but Xmithie being 2k gold down as Hanabi gets locked up.
Well, DoubleLift is going to jump all the way forward. Remember, Hanabi was the recipient of the gank a moment or two ago. He gets taken out. DoubleLift on a killing spree.
And that's a big misplay from Hanabi. No flash, doesn't have a tower, tries to get vision in the river, but he walks through all of these wards that Team Liquid had set up in the bottom side of the map. They just ran out, as we asked the observers to highlight over, and what it means is another kill goes in favor of DoubleLift.
And DoubleLift here, Rage Blade looks like into Hurricane, going to be the build to melt multiple members. And that is the one you want to see from the hard carry. He hasn't even purchased boots yet, focusing fully on combat effectiveness.
Especially when you're going to have Cho'Gath, Trundle, and Swain in your face for days. Definitely going to be difficult to play these team fights out. DoubleLift and Olleh going to continue to push thanks to that vision that's set up earlier. Get a little bit of damage, deny some minions in the bottom lane before they back away.
And DoubleLift's positioning is going to be of the utmost importance for Team Liquid. So that means that we're going to keep our eyes on Olleh with this Janna. You have to be next to him, be ready to reset with your ultimate. You know, with the Rage Blade plus a Hurricane completed, he could theoretically take down multiple tanks at the same time.
I think that Olleh's positioning will be pivotal, especially given that he's decided to go for the Ignite rather than the Exhaust. And I think that makes sense because you want to try and mitigate the healing from Maple in those late game fights as well. And when you look at targets, like, the ultimate from Maple is very easy to play around. It's rather telegraphed. You know you can predict it, so an Exhaust less valuable than perhaps you would initially expect against this comp.
See that little pop-up, by the way? Just telling the story of Xmithie and how difficult this game has been. He's still 2,000 gold down, which is the entirety of the gold difference between Flash Wolves and Team Liquid. And also, Flash Wolves, by the way, 6-0 with the gold lead at 15 minutes. It helps when you're 6-2 and you're the winningest team, of course. But they've still got to play this out and get past this Malzahar and Kai'Sa.
And what it means for Gragas to be behind like that is just that you're going to be a lot more squishy than you're used to. He's still gone with the Runic Echoes. You know, we see most Gragas take the Electrocute as well. It's usually for that early game impact. He didn't get to have that, but he still has the possibility in team fights to make big plays. Big thing about Gragas is, of course, the crowd control abilities and the accuracy of your ultimate dividing the members of the enemy team so that Kai'Sa can try and take over a team fight. If you split all of Flash Wolves up, then that allows DoubleLift to jump in with Killer Instinct, choose his targets, and try and take down the squishy ones ahead of the more tanky.
Exactly that. And I think that how these fights start will be really important too, because you could use Xmithie to ulti away the enemy team once Pobelter is locked onto a target. Alternatively, it could be Hanabi finding a flank and you have to use that ulti as a disengage. The setup will be pivotal in order to enable Team Liquid to execute these comps perfectly.
Talking about setup, there's a QSS for Betty already. So he's gone for that survivability into the nether grass that can come down from Pobelter. It may be important. We've got a fight brewing. Flash Wolves waiting in the river. Maple can grab somebody. You can see that Call of the Void comes out. That's an interrupt on the Herald, but it landed late. The explosive cask did not stop Moojin.
That possibility for the big playmaking for a team fight is now totally gone. That's Flash and Gragas ultimate down.
And that should be an easy tower secured for Flash Wolves. Impact thinking about going in, decides against it.
They don't want to because look at DoubleLift. Off screen, he used both his summoner spells to get out of a sticky situation, and now Flash Wolf are sieging onto the tier 2.
Oh, they really are. The Rift Herald will get taken down at last, but Flash Wolves to get themselves a tower and some chip on that inner.
And so many of the cooldowns here from Team Liquid. Impact on Ornn is the only one left with his flash after that engagement. Meanwhile, Flash Wolves sporting all 5.
Was it really worth to try and interrupt that Rift Herald? Question that we'll be asking for a little while. But Flash Wolves, they maintain control. They are dictating what happens when.
And Flash is one of the biggest cooldowns in the game, so they have a large window now to try and work with a very big advantage.
And with the Drake spawning in about a minute's time, Xmithie getting early on into the river to secure a bit of vision control so that they can look to try and contest this. Remember, the gold lead is big, but a lot of it sits on Xmithie, and he's decided to go for the AP build rather than the full tank, which perhaps could influence things later on in fights.
Side lane play here possible from DoubleLift. He's looking for Maple to actually push up a little bit more.
I don't know if you would.
They're going to find him isolated, maybe.
Ooh, Void Seeker needs to hit a target. It doesn't. Maple's got a tower to fall back to. You see instant fallback pings. Fall back, and TL back away.
Back to the Gragas build, though. A lot of Gragas will just stop at the Runic Echoes and, you know, call it quits there, and then go mostly tank afterwards. Let's take another look, though. This was the attempt. Goes in, flashes away afterwards.
Just a little too late there. And then Flash Wolves could very easily group up mid and push. And then, yeah, as you saw just off screen, that was when DoubleLift was forced to use both his summoner spells because a good E once again coming out from Maple.
Well, DoubleLift's finish off that Hurricane. Not gone for the tier 2 boots yet. Impact doing relatively well, by the way. We've not really talked a lot about Hanabi and Impact, unless Hanabi's been ganked. But Impact plus 20 CS, he's got Banner of Command already. And that's going to do pretty well. There's not a great answer to those banner-empowered minions. Obviously, the Feast can help. But you want to save that for those team fights as the game plays out.
Yeah, as far as tank v tank goes, I think Feast is about as good of an answer as you're ever going to get. But you're right. Impact is at home in these tank v tank matchups, and it definitely seems to be a comfort. He's now joining with the rest of the squad. Top and mid turrets are both very low here. But if you don't actually knock it over, then you don't get to use any of the much-needed gold. Here they go offensive.
Look at the damage from Betty. He's running forward. Call of the Forge God at least dissuades any further follow-up, and Pobelter needs to use both summons.
And these ultis from Team Liquid are just being used to disengage for the time being. They respect the difference in strength right now in the game. They do not want to try and force a fight. Instead, they're just chipping away at these towers as Flash Wolves are looking to punish.
Now, whenever you're watching pro games and you see flashes blown and blown and blown over and over, on one side, you feel like a team is up against the ropes if they're constantly having to use that cooldown. Even though Flash Wolves aren't getting these kills, they are able to get another Drake for themselves and rotate up tier to try and catch Pobe.
The blue buff on Betty's just going to allow him to run down Pobelter. Kept the vision on. Vision of the Empire even gets a assist.
This is not a surprise for Team Liquid, unfortunately, as Pobelter has been caught out multiple times during this tournament. Interested to see why he was so overextended in the middle lane, because he had no summoner spells available. We just saw him use that flash, and now Flash Wolves are looking to punish.
They are indeed. The inner turret gets chunked down. Killer Instinct's available for DoubleLift, but there's nothing to back it up. No explosive cast, no Call of the Forge God. So Team Liquid say no to the engage. Flash Wolves are not done sieging.
And as Captain Flowers aptly puts it, you can see the Malzahar tax is coming through. The QSS has already been picked up for the AD carry as Flash Wolves continue the chip and poke damage. Mal's now respawning. He's just going to be able to catch the top wave, and Flash Wolves likely to just disengage off the back of this, reset the map.
It's been a Flash Wolves map for 22 minutes. It is a very big gold lead. It is a dragon lead. The vision is still pushed forward. And Flash Wolves, by the way, they've not backed. They really, really want to take this tower down. Maple's coming in. He's got flash and he's got full stacks on that passive.
Here we go.
Let's take a look. Call of the Forge God comes out. Yes, it knocks up 3. Nether Cross manages to lock down Hanabi. He flashes away for his life, and now Maple swaps up frontline duty. DoubleLift forced to run for his life. Feral Scream will interrupt him for a while, but Maple is down. It's Olleh that kills him. Team Liquid win the fight, defend the tower.
And that's with pushing away kind of the low health members there. But Team Liquid happy to get this victory. They can push mid lane and some pings around the river as well.
And Team Liquid finally utilized the strengths of their composition. Flash Wolves go for one final push to secure that inner tower, but they cannot find it with a good ulti from Pobelter and the collapse from the rest of the team.
Pobelter and Impact hit the hard CC that they need there, and they get some much needed tower gold, but now they're trying to reset, and Flash Wolves are in a dangerous area.
Oh, Team Liquid, so risky there. Oh, they finished that recall. I was getting nervous. But looking at the minimap, top pushing in favor of Team Liquid, bottom crashing into the tower, also in favor of Team Liquid. Maple's going to deal with it and then has teleport available. But this gold lead now means nothing. The damage dealers are what matter to TL.
It's really important to recognize that gold lead, though, QuickShot, because it was a 4,000 gold advantage in favor of Flash Wolves, and with one good fight, Team Liquid have reduced that down to about 1,000, and keeping that gap close, allowing DoubleLift to get to a point where he will be this huge impact in team fights is the big win condition for Team Liquid as they find a good fight versus Flash Wolves.
Yeah, this fight right here very well could have been a breaking point for Team Liquid, but look at this. The Ornn ultimate right through 3 of them. Pobelter follows it up, melts through the front line. Now all the front line is gone. Even though they didn't get the kill onto Trundle, they're still under turret, so it's very easy for DoubleLift and the rest of the team to focus fire down Maple. They would have liked, to have maybe the knock-in to also get the Trundle kill, but they'll definitely take what they can get. The important part for them was that they got the turret afterwards for some more gold and to open up the map a little bit.
Yeah, well-executed fight there from Liquid, but now we've got to look back at the items that are being completed for both sides, because one of the big win conditions for Flash Wolves is utilizing the Baron. You have the Cho'Gath, you have a Kog'Maw, a very fast Baron-taking team, and a lot of opportunities to catch Team Liquid unawares. So given the speed at which you can take it, you need those items to be finished. Now, the problem is because you go for the Quicksilver Sash, you have a DoubleLift who has a whole BF sword ahead of you, which means that Team Liquid are going to be ready to fight that much sooner than Flash Wolves are.
Yeah, DoubleLift would really like to complete his own QSS as well, because again, he is the hope for this squad. Right now, he's pushing the top wave in, and Team Liquid trying to keep vision around Baron.
All right, Xmithie's going to use that body slam to get past the Trundle pillar. Team Liquid do not expend any more summoner spells, but Flash Wolves and TL poising for a fight.
Yeah, a lot of pings coming down here. DoubleLift has joined the rest of them. Anytime he joins and it's a full 5-man, then there's the possibility for the engage. Because if we update again, Vedius, the Shurelias has been completed on Gragas there for Xmithie, so he is adding even more AP as well as some utility for the team, and speed is so important right now when you're choosing these engages.
I must admit that Team Liquid right now are having much better control over their side lanes as well. Note how many minion waves are just crashing into these side lane towers of Flash Wolves, and it is not being picked up. That means that Pobelter has a level advantage. Impact is ahead in experience, and DoubleLift is just being funneled farm. So in terms of the map, Flash Wolves are kind of being dragged around, constantly trying to clean up these waves.
Yep, even though there are 3 control wards in this river around Baron for Flash Wolves, Team Liquid have pushed the bottom first, and now they're going to try and move in to regain some of that very important vision around Baron.
Oh, I don't know where Flash Wolves are. The observers are trolling all of us, just showing the Team Liquid vision. You can feel the tension as they're clearing out the wards towards Baron.
Yeah, because Team Liquid were able to push bottom first, Impact walks to join the rest of the team, and Cho'Gath shows bottom. So that's why they're able to move in, try and retake control there. But again, both teams have Rageblade. We're so focused on the Kai'Sa because this champion has recently just taken over the game, but Kog'Maw as well can melt through it.
And this swing in control, this ebb and flow to the game, now actually has a flow. Initially, from the early game, it was all Flash Wolves. They shut down Xmithie, they controlled the jungle. Flash Wolves took so many early objectives and examples, and now after one team fight, Team Liquid have evened the goal deficit, and are actually pushing past the river to set up their own plays.
Exactly. No matter what happens here, showing poise in a game like this where you get destroyed that heavily in difference of jungle presence early on in the game is something that people wanted to see from Team Liquid. There's been so much talk, about the mental state of the team and about the clutch factor that a lot of these guys may or may not be bringing. Right now, though, they've been able to bring this game right back to even and put themselves into a spot where they can force those tiebreakers and they can actually take control.
And we're getting to a point where I feel that teamfights will all come down to execution. Who has the setup? Who hits those primary crowd controls? We've talked so much about the Gragas ulti, the Impact ulti. We've talked about the positioning of Betty. Who will be the ones to find the fight that will swing the game?
Vedius is a potential team fight for Ocean Drake on the horizon, and DoubleLift went for an Infinity Edge first. So he's already got the damage bonus. Ocean Drake picked up by TL.
DoubleLift can absolutely 1v5 right now. So much damage packed into this Kai'Sa. He has a huge spike right now, and Team Liquid are actually looking to utilize it.
Let's find out. Flashwolf started that one. Pillar of Ice comes out as Impact is now being zoned away by Betty. All of the Forge God comes out. Maple is the target. He's only got one stack on his passive. That's already a kill onto Moojin. Now in a 5-on-4. The Monsoon has been channeled, and Hanabi's joined the fight.
Good reset there from Olleh. Flashwolves now sticking around without a Swain ultimate as well. They have to cede control.
But keep track of the ultimates that were used. Pobelter, Xmithie, Impact, all have them unavailable, but the same goes for Maple. The big swing factor could be Hanabi. Can they land the CC to find a target, or will Team Liquid secure themselves a Baron?
Look at the minimap. Bottom is in favor of Team Liquid. Top is in favor of Flashwolves, and Baron has been started.
That's quick.
There's a feast available for Hanabi if he can get into the pit. The Baron is the focus. 2,900. Turn and burn. Look for the fight. Flashwolves get body slammed on. That's a bounce back. Xmithie goes up. Betty's running forward, looking for the triple kill. Impact is being burned and eaten alive. Knocked up into the air. Living artillery, and Maple takes him out. Flashwolves win!
And the Kog'Maw comes up so huge for Flashwolves. They've taken control over the Baron pit. Now it's their turn to actually force.
Moojin has respawned. He's on his way back. Xmithie is dead, so the risk of a steal is minimal. Pobelter, you are the one that could save this game.
Oh man, let's take a look if there's any possibility. Flash available to him. Flashwolves doing the right thing. Pobelter decides to save his life, and Flashwolves get out clean.
Such a critical team fight there from Flashwolves to 4v5 and come up huge. They're able to kill Xmithie first and run right through the team. Betty, this is an AD carry in an AD carries tournament that has surprised so many.
The aggressive flash forward, I mean, it was insane. I'm anticipating the replay coming up with Betty's very forward motion.
And the big thing to note is the fact that this is brought to you by Acer Predator, and unfortunately, Acer Predator couldn't really do much for Team Liquid as they tried to go for the re-engage. They didn't have the ultimates available. We talked about it at the start of the fight. Impact dives in, but then the Flashwolves, they're better set up to go for the re-engage. Betty can just freely dish out damage, whereas Kai'Sa, her short range wasn't enough to threaten the same way in which the Kog'Maw could.
Yeah, Hanabi there on the Cho'Gath played a very good role, able to get the Rupture off, then flash out afterwards. Team Liquid looking for an offensive move right now.
Killer Instinct is available, but DoubleLift's not going to pull the trigger, and I think wisely so. Disengage is now the call for Team Liquid. Baron empowered Flashwolves with the gold lead. They can look to siege multiple lanes.
Impact does have priority over mid and the teleport. Good damage there from DoubleLift.
And he's forced to run away, gets caught out. That's a beautiful barrel! Xmithie, or maybe his signature champion, catches out Maple.
Yeah, it's a toss-up between that one and Sejuani, but he lands this ultimate perfect, able to get Maple right there and put a complete stop to the Baron-empowered siege.
Really good pick there from Team Liquid. Level 16 DoubleLift on the Kai'Sa, 4-0 and 3, deals more than enough damage to rip through Maple on the Swain, and now the scoreline is 7-7. It is Team Liquid that have priority on the middle lane.
And just remember, it was Maple that was forced to teleport into that river. Then he gets zoned away, loses his flash as well. Team Liquid will take the 4th tower of the game in a 4v5. Remember, they can still lose these. We saw what happened just minutes ago.
This whole game is a battle of the AD carries and how the team sets them up for success. If Betty is in a position to freely damage the front line, then he can be the one to win the fight. But if DoubleLift can find his way onto the back line, utilize the mobility and power that he has on the Kai'Sa, he can be the one to dictate the pace and swing the fights in favor of Liquid.
Yeah, and something I'm looking a little bit more closely at Vedius is the side lane control that you pointed out. Team Liquid did a very good job throughout the course of the mid game, and you can see Pobelter clears out bottom, DoubleLift went to clear out top. Playing into now the Baron empowered minions, it gets a lot more difficult, but Team Liquid are using the map very well.
Definitely true. And while everyone always focuses on the AD carries because they're the huge damage dealers, you know, the front lines then become equally as important with the crowd control to set these fights up. And we have to reiterate how important that ult from Xmithie was. If you look at the goal, this Baron power play is going to be almost nothing from the Flash Wolves. They're trying to return to bottom lane to push now, but they've only got one more wave to push with. That might be enough for them to actually take the turret, as Team Liquid are a little bit slow in returning to defense.
Especially when you look at Betty, Essence Reaver, Rageblade, Hurricane, and a pickaxe working towards that eye edge. And he just melted through that tower like a hot knife through butter. Flash Wolves back away. Okay, 45 seconds to Dragon. Exceptionally good vision in the right-hand quadrant of the jungle for Flash Wolves, and they're setting up for a potential catch.
Moojin just lying in wait, trying to use that pillar to catch an unsuspecting target out. Flash Wolves, the last time they were in this position, Pobelter was the guy that found the pick that enabled Team Liquid to stop Flash Wolves' push. And even though it has been Team Liquid that have been primarily on the back foot, they have been finding some successful fights. Outside of the Baron, ooh, SwordArt!
Well, SwordArt's going to get 3 shots, yeah, Cathian Rain, not going to be enough to kill him. The exhaust saving SwordArt's life.
Yep, and that's just in time for a Dragon. 10 seconds left on this cloud, and Team Liquid should have control. There's multiple recalls going off from Flash Wolves.
All right, this will reset that timer for Elder Drake. Once it is taken, there's no contest here by Flash Wolves. They'll concede this. 2 clouds and an ocean for Team Liquid. We are well and truly into the late game, and Team Liquid on the verge of something magical at MSI. After losing so many games, they need to win everything today to increase their chances to make it to Paris.
Truly the underdogs of this tournament, striking back now and putting you into a hopeful position, but Flash Wolves have been the ones to come out on top over and over so far here at MSI.
I mean, we had this discussion about Flash Wolves. They went 6-0, they were underestimated a whole bunch. They showed up, they were smashing the early game. Team Liquid found 1 or 2 good picks in team fights. It evens the playing field. How do Flash Wolves, how is their mentality affected? This team, this roster, this year has only really known winning. And yesterday, the 2 games in a row, maybe they start to panic. Maybe the pressure of being the #1 team, all eyes on them, maybe it does start to get to some of these rookies.
I feel like exactly that, QuickShot. If it's going to affect anyone, it is the new players. Moojin, yesterday we saw that when it came down to the Smite battles, he wasn't as successful as he has been when the team is clearly in control. And now you're reaching 35 minutes into the game. You've already said how we're in full late game, but this is where you rely on the stars in Betty and Maple. They have carried games before. They came close to winning the game against Fnatic yesterday, and if anyone will do it, it'll be these 2 veterans of the Flash Wolves.
He touched on Betty. He's got himself an Infinity Edge. So damage difference, somewhat negligible. Rapid fire cannon picked up for DoubleLift. Here comes
Betty, look at Betty!
Betty's the target! Will be taken down! Shut down by DoubleLift! Now Hanabi's trying to set something back. Forced to use that stopwatch, and he's going to be caught between a rock and a hard place. It's a double kill for DoubleLift!
And they're going to race him towards the mid lane here. Flash Wolves are actually pushed out of zone control. Maple's the only one to get inside the base. Team Liquid full steam ahead.
100% kill participation for Team Liquid's at DoubleLift. They take down the inhibitor turret. The inhibitor will not survive much longer, and TL are now in control of the game.
The Baron is alive in 20 seconds. Still a death timer on top of Betty. Team Liquid find the perfect pick. They will secure so much control over the map, and now it is Team Liquid who are looking to end this game.
Vedi had flash available, but it didn't matter. Team Liquid pounced on him so quickly. Impact starts it off. Xmithie finished it up, and now they're looking for Moojin.
There we go, flash net the grasp. Easy kill secured by Team Liquid. That means the smite is not in the pit. Hanabi is only respawning now, and look at how quickly that Baron is shredded, Vedius.
Team Liquid playing this game so well. Level 18 DoubleLift. Let's see how they found this. Now, it's all about the positioning of Vedi. No, he has his flash available, chooses not to use it.
Yeah, and after that moment, there is no recourse for Flash Wolves. The Kog'Maw is dead. There's no way they're getting out of this one, so they have to abandon Hanabi there in the middle, even with the stasis popped there, allowing Team Liquid control of the map.
You talked so much about the frontline Kobe and how impactful they will be. Impact landing that ultimate, Xmithie landing his ulti earlier on in the day. You have to give so much credit to these two tanks who then set up DoubleLift to do what he does best.
And again, looking at the lineups here, so much more reliable is the Ornn ultimate in a team fight. And having something reliable to start out the team fight makes it so much easier for a Gragas player to follow up like that. Even just a slow landing, something like that, and splitting up the team really goes a very long way. Meanwhile, Flash Wolves, much more difficult for them to coordinate as far as their front line, focusing DoubleLift.
Well, DoubleLift 6-0-4, first professional game on Kai'Sa. And I don't think he's doing too shabby there, boys. 39 minutes in, still 2 minutes on the Baron buff. And looking at the mini-map, they catch some damage on Maple. Not going to be enough to follow up, protecting that banner-empowered minion. And will finally get taken down. I think that was a smite that finished it. Taking a look at the engage. Here comes the barrel. That sends people sideways. Call of the Forge God. That is a zoning ultimate. A couple more hits in the tower is all it is going to take. But Hanabi is destroyed. Forced to flash away from the Void Seeker. And Impact's now going to go in. He's taken out. Betty's turning one back. DoubleLift gets feasted with the shield. The heals. He survives. That's a double kill. Chasing all the way forward. It's a triple kill. And Team Liquid, they're setting their sights onto the Nexus turrets. They've got the base broken open.
DoubleLift is a monster as he secures a triple kill for Liquid, and it looks like the game.
Team Liquid keep their hopes at semi-finals alive.
4 victories for Team Liquid, and they're not even done with the day.
Watching the celebration on Team Liquid's face, a hard-fought victory.
Look at the reaction. Every victory previous to this at MSI, Team Liquid have been calm, just pull off the headsets, but immediately after this one, jump out of the seats. They can't wait to shake the Flash Wolves' hands.
And DoubleLift secures himself an unofficial penta at the very end as well. Such a good performance from Team Liquid. The pressure gets put onto Fnatic as well, as DoubleLift and Team Liquid still hold their fate in their hands.
Finally, we see the smiles come out from this team. The mental state has been such a discussion. What a success there.
The smiles, DoubleLift and Olleh side by side after a phenomenal performance. Look, they win the game, it looks amazing right at the end. But that was 30+ minutes of playing from a deficit, of Xmithie being behind. And it was engages from Xmithie and Impact that set DoubleLift up to drive it home.
And again, we bring up poise in international games, in high-pressure situations, set behind in the early game, but they were not phased, and they were able to regroup and reset the entire game state. Just can't be said enough right now for Team Liquid. They're incredibly happy about that one.
2 gigantic things are now on the cards. Number 1, Fnatic or TL that much closer to that 4th and final seed. One of them makes it, one of them doesn't. On the other end, because Flash Wolves have now lost 3 games in a row, Kingzone's chances of taking the number 1 seed from groups have also just jumped a large amount. Kingzone, RNG, and Flash Wolves all within touching distance of that first place seed, and we still have 3 games to go.
Are you telling me that we're likely going to see tiebreakers today, QuickShot?
Oh, God, I hope so. It would be amazing, because this may just be the most competitive group stage at MSI that we have ever had, and it is coming down to the 3 final games, and that is, it's mind-boggling.
Yes, it certainly is. And
I don't have the
It could
words.
be EU versus NA once again to determine that final spot. Let's not forget
Hold
G
on.
versus TSM last year.
Because I'm so animated and excited, I actually jumped the gun. We have a standings graphic that I definitely want to pull up and show you guys at home. Just to really drive home. Look at this. 6-3, 6-3, 6-3. Head-to-heads, tiebreakers, the last 3 games come into play.
Said like a true man who has lived under the reign of SKT forever. This is such a new experience.
What, and you haven't, Kobe? Where were you living, my friend?
I completely am right there with you, my friend.
So there's one game left for everyone.
Yes.
Fnatic, arguably, given that they will be going up against EVOS, are the heavy favorites to secure themselves to 5-5, and Liquid, the pressure will be on them later on in the day as they go up against RNG, who they have beaten before, but is still, based on RNG's performance, a monumental task.
And then what about Flash Wolves versus Kingzone, Kobe?
I'm excited for every game, honestly.
Well,
pull one out of the hat.
Okay,
I'm ready
perfect.
to go.
Well, there's 3. We're going to watch all 3 backstage. We're going to head for more to talk to Shocks, who's standing by with Olleh.
Thank you very much, guys, here with the victorious Olleh. Indeed, congratulations. I saw you guys hugging each other, just being so incredibly happy to win this game. What does it mean to win this game for you guys, and how do you feel?
My feeling is finally DoubleLift Olleh, but they'll come back. And yeah, I feel really great, but I can't be hyped because we have still 1 more game left. So.
Yeah, you still have to play some games. You talk about DoubleLift. He has been playing phenomenally. Is that the focus also that you are going to keep going on the next couple of games, putting all the resources into DoubleLift?
Actually, we have many ways to play, but I think when I play good enough, like Peter played really well, but the thing is, like, first day I didn't play well, so Peter didn't shine. So I was focusing on myself, and then when I play good or so-so, and Peter just played really super well.
Then he plays really well, like in this game. Olleh, you mentioned yourself and kind of that first day that was so up and down. How would you say your mental state is now? How confident do you feel going into the rest of the day?
Actually, the first game, first day, I thought our team was really strong. Our team gonna win on stage because our scrim was going really well, but it didn't really go well as our scrim. So yeah, after we lost, I realized my statement is not good, really. So for my team, I think I have to decide something. So I asked our coach, maybe I want to take a break. And yeah, I think it's going well.
They went better in the end. Now you guys seem on form. This is a Team Liquid that people want to see. So tell me, what is the most important thing for you guys going into that game versus RNG later that will decide so much?
I think if we beat RNG, I will feel like we deserve to go French. So I don't really think about Fnatic lose to EVOS somehow. I don't care. I just want to prove our team is strong. Then I want to know our team deserve to go French or not.
I want to see that you deserve it. You also wanted to say something to the fans. Go ahead.
Hello, my fans. I'm sorry that I didn't play well and I took a break. Maybe it's not professional. But yeah, I had to do that because I was really nervous so much. So please believe in us, and we will do much better.
Okay. There we go. They believe in you. Thank you very much, Olleh. Congratulations. Team Liquid is on a roll. Let's see if they can keep it going. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Shocks. They're alive. The hopes for North America remain as Team Liquid with just an insane comeback victory here over Flash Wolves, who slide to 0-3 in their most recent games, but a disastrous early game with a first blood handed over to Moojin early, and yet the recovery comes through off of the back end of DoubleLift's play.
And the thing is that this series was literally a series of inches. Now, yes, Xmithie did make a poor call thinking that he had time to not only do the red buff, but also reach for the Raptor camp when he was delayed, and it just puts him in such a hole to climb out of, but he managed to climb out of it.
Yeah, it got so much worse after that, too, because then he lost his blue, then on the next spawn of his red, he lost it. On the next spawn of his blue, he lost it.
He was screwed.
The logic of that was for Team Liquid to split the map and be able to have better control over DoubleLift. It backfired terribly because he never should have gone for the Raptors. And listening to Azale, where NA fans constant pessimists during that game, it should have been over.
Yeah.
MSI was over, they're gone, but heroically, I feel like they made a lot of plays down the stretch, and I think Flash Wolves did not rise to the occasion in a game they should have won.
They definitely didn't. I mean, it's pretty insane, like all the kind of dominoes that fell after that mistake. And I think, you know, going for Raptors is maybe okay, but then he sees Trundle in the mid lane, walking slowly through mid lane, does not respect that, dies. Not only does he die, he gives up his flash. And when I was looking at this draft, I'm like, okay, you need to have a strong early game, probably hear from Xmithie. You know, the Trundle versus Gragas matchup, generally Trundle is going to have a lot more value later unless you can have these incredible casks. And instead, there's this tragic early game, but Xmithie did more than make up for it later on. You know, it wasn't just double lift, it was the playmaking, I think, of Xmithie that was huge.
That said, game of inches. We saw it even in the mid lane, right? An attempt to stop the Rift Herald spawn from Xmithie, nearly getting it, but because of the miss, more advantages falling in favor of Flash Wolves.
That was a math equation is what it was. Like how quick is the Rift Herald going to be spawned versus the cask flying through the air? And if that doesn't go down, they still have all those towers in the mid lane.
Yeah, 29 minutes in as well, they lose a Baron. Like, we're going to keep showing these clips, and this is a team where their support benched himself earlier on. Like 3 days ago, we're talking about mental resiliency and whether or not you're tilting. This team seems to have just magically solved all of those issues because they did not tilt after when they peel from Baron after getting a pick. It's a 5v4 they end up losing. They give away the Baron, but it just didn't stop them.
And it's such a high pressure situation time and time again. But again, the grit, the resilience, I use this word a lot in the LPL when I look at certain players like Uzi, you know, never giving up, like Clearlove, having that resilience, it's heart. And when I look at someone like DoubleLift, I can almost just see, like, the fact that all of the resources are on him, the fact that he gets the Kai'Sa, the first time he's ever shown it competitively at MSI. Undoubtedly, it's gotten through scrims, but the fact that he just stood so tall, he had the heart, he didn't come here to compete, he came here to win. We say it all the time about his international events, and he put it all on the line.
I mean, you talk about you know the heart of a competitor, the drive of a champion. This guy has been around and at the top of his region since 2011. You do not stay as one of the top players in your region for that long if you are not ridiculously motivated. The amount of effort, the amount of stress and heartbreak you have to go through, and to overcome that and still be able to perform. I mean, this is probably the best international performance he's ever had in his career, you know, 7 years in, and it's incredible to see.
Exactly that, and talk about a defining moment for your career, right? You have to believe that in that game, DoubleLift asked for it. In that moment when the team is on the back foot, he says, all right, guys, it's do or die time, and I'm going to be the one to lead the charge. Put your faith in me. I'll carry you to the finish line. That's exactly what happened in the preceding team fights after that unfortunate Baron.
And then huge credit to his teammates. If you looked at their comms, there was never a point where they shut down, where they stopped talking to each other. Pobelter was caught off into the side. Xmithie had a fumbled early game, but they stayed to the course.
Yeah, and just look at the team composition. Ornn, Gragas, Malzahar, and then a shielder. It's 3 CC bringers, and then your hyper carry. I think the champion for Team Liquid's strengths and your win condition is actually so incredibly narrow, but they stuck the landing throughout this. And I'm so interested in what's going to be able to happen next, because people tend to only remember the final results of all of this. They need to carry this momentum through so much further. Uzi is going to be up next, but it was an amazing game.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a huge matchup to close out the day for Team Liquid. We have some time to wait before that, and for Team Liquid, they've got some time to maybe compose themselves, because I'm sure the adrenaline is running insanely high at the moment for this squad.
Based on the final fight, too. Because the last time DoubleLift had a big final day of group stage international moment where he could kind of make or break, you just remember him running face first into a victor and getting one shot.
Yep.
So how long does that take to kind of get out of your brain?
Yeah, I mean, you know,
a year. Or
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
At Worlds, he got a ton of criticism as well. Everyone's asking, you know, where are the DoubleLift flashes? Well, he was saving them for this tournament because they have been on point.
That's what he was. For Flash Wolves, though, too, we have to talk about the slide here, just real briefly to close out the segment. The 0-3, of course, they're still trying to hold on to that top spot.
And I do want to kind of put a magnifying glass over Flash Wolves' draft phase. This is now 2 games in a row, or not in a row, but 2 games now where they've let a signature pick go through. Against RNG, they gave away the Kai'Sa and they got smacked by it. Against Team Liquid, we've talked time and time again about the Malzahar pick. And yeah, the Kai'Sa went through, it was DoubleLift that ultimately carried on it, but why give Pobelter his best performing champion of the tournament? I just think they're overlooking this.
Shaping up to be a crazy day. After the break, Fnatic look to answer Team Liquid's win as they face off against EVOS. First, though, let's see how the French casters are preparing for the knockout stage.